Welcome to What the Tech, the show that cuts through the noise and gives you the hard-hitting take on the week's biggest story. Today, we are putting a true Silicon Valley legend under the microscope to figure out its long, painful decline. So let's get right into it. $8.9 billion. Let that number sink in for a second. That's how much the U.S. government just handed over for about a 10% stake in Intel. But trust me, that number, that's not the real story here. Because let's call this what it really is. This is not some savvy investment in a booming tech company. No, this is a bailout, plain and simple. It's just been wrapped up in some nice, patriotic branding. One of the founding fathers of Silicon Valley has just become a government project.
So the billion-dollar question is, how did we even get here? I mean, how did the company that literally defined an entire era of computing end up in this spot? It's a heck of a journey from industry icon to what we can only call a government project, and it happened through something called partial nationalization.
And this is the key idea you gotta get. This is when the government doesn't just write a check for a subsidy. No, they step in and take actual ownership and equity stake to prop up a company they believe is just too important to fail. And in this case, the national interest is all about semiconductor sovereignty here in the US. So it all boils down to this one central question. How did the undisputed champion, the company that put Intel inside on pretty much every computer for decades, find itself needing a government lifeline just to stay in the game? To figure that out, well, we need to perform an autopsy. And what this autopsy reveals is a pattern, a series of 5 fatal failures. These are the strategic blunders and the cultural decay that piece by piece dismantled a tech titan from the inside out. So here it is. This is our roadmap of ruin. We're going to walk through each one, from missing the biggest consumer tech shift in a generation to completely fumbling AI in manufacturing, all the way down to a corporate culture that just rotted from within. Okay, let's kick things off with the first and maybe the most famous blunder of them all. Completely, totally missing the mobile revolution. This wasn't just a small mistake, it was an absolute market access catastrophe. Just listen to these words from former CEO Paul Otellini. He's talking about his decision to turn down Apple when they came asking for a chip for the very first iPhone. Why? He thought the price was too low. That single decision, a squabble over a few dollars per chip, literally locked Intel out of the most profitable growth market of the next decade. To really understand the scale of this screw-up, it's basically the tech version of Kodak looking at digital cameras and saying, "Nah, we're good." It is a textbook, case study example of a market leader so blinded by its own success that it just couldn't see the tidal wave about to wash it away. But it gets worse. Next, we see this total collapse of innovation on 2 different fronts. First, an unbelievable blind spot on AI. Intel actually killed its own project for GPU-style chips right before the AI boom made those exact chips the most valuable silicon on the planet. And at the same time, their legendary manufacturing advantage, the thing that made them Intel, just crumbled, letting rivals like TSMC and Samsung fly right past them. You see, all these hardware stumbles, they weren't the disease. They were the symptoms of something much deeper. And that brings us to the final 2 knockout blows, a culture of complacency that just ate the company alive and the strategic rot that came right along with it. This powerful analogy actually came from inside the company. They said their main business, those PC chips, had become a creosote bush, which is a plant that literally poisons the soil so nothing else can grow around it. Their cash cow was so profitable that it starved and killed any new, innovative idea that threatened the gravy train. And all of this, it points to this massive cultural shift. I mean, the company that was built on its founder, Andy Grove's famous motto, "Only the paranoid survive," had become the exact opposite, fat, happy, and just dangerously complacent. And look, this comparison tells you everything you need to know. On one side, you have the Grove era, paranoid, dominant, fostering tough internal debate. And on the other, the post-Grove era, complacency, small steps, choking out innovation. The ultimate irony here is that the very things Andy Grove warned them about, getting lazy and depending on the government, have become Intel's reality today. So what is this new reality for Intel? What does it actually mean for a tech giant to stop leading the market and start being a strategic asset for the government?
Well, for one thing, it means the market has moved on. The crown has been passed. When it comes to the future of computing, Wall Street, the ultimate judge of who's winning, is looking somewhere else entirely.
And this chart, wow, this is the punchline to the entire story. Just look at the market's verdict. Intel, the former king, is sitting at around $108 billion. Meanwhile, NVIDIA, the company that absolutely capitalized on that AI boom Intel missed, is worth over $4.3 trillion. This is, without a doubt, one of the most staggering reversals of fortune in the history of technology. So, this is what being a government project really means for Intel going forward. First, it's going to be valued more like a stable defense contractor, not a high-growth tech stock. Second, you can bet innovation is going to slow down under all that political oversight. And third, its fate is now tied to geopolitical needs, not just winning in the free market.
And that leaves us with one final and kind of uncomfortable question. Has Intel's whole reason for being shifted? Is it now a tool of national policy first and a technology leader second? That really is the core of this whole thing. And the answer is going to shape the tech landscape for years to come.